Right, this is a tutorial for a Zephyrus quad coil build with NI200. Absolute beast. I built it up, it's working really well. Its juice flow is phenomenal. It's doing about 1.5 tanks a day. Yeah, so I'll just give it a go, and it worked really well. There's not a lot of tutorials out there that are as good as this, I believe, but that's just opinion. So I'm going to just go down and show you how to do it, but it will take a while. Stuff you will need is 2 strips of NI200 wire, 40 centimeters should do you. 1 coiling rig, 2mm is a good size. I've not tried it with any others, but 2mm fits comfortable with a cotton. You don't need one of these, however, they are good. First things first, so I've stripped it down on my Zephyrus. I've had it in the ultrasonic bath, cleaned it off. There is no juice on this tank. I've took the middle pin out and the rubber and dried it thoroughly, because when you wash these tanks or any other tank, you put the deck on and it reads resistance, and it's just the water conducting, that's all. So make sure you dry it really well. So as you can see, no connection, fantastic. I'll take that off. I'll get my deck on, screw that on nice and tight, and put that on. I'll just give it a little test. Right, so we know that that is good. So I want to now open my post holes to prepare them for when I put the wire in. You don't need to go mad as long as they're open. A bit more. Just have a quick vape. I mean, you listen to this thing crackle. I don't know if you've had a Zephyrus, but they're fantastic, and this is a really good setup. That's on 300 Fahrenheit. 410. Whew. Brilliant. Right, so 4 posts are open and ready to go. So what we need to do now is get your coil. So I'll just put him aside for now. Nickel wire. So into the coil jig she goes, and what you need to do is you build it backwards. So you pull everything through and leave about, what's that, leave about 8 to 10 centimeters. I'd go a bit more, maybe it's 10 to 12. Bend him over, and then just carefully, it's quite important you get this right, you want to do 10 wraps. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and you want to leave it so they're 90 degrees away from each other. So he's coming out there and 90 degrees up is there. Then you want to take this out, turn him round, and just tidy it up as you would any other coil, but make sure you've got your 90 degrees, give or take. So the next bit, now this is a bit tricky. So you want to put your coil you've just made with your excess, lie it on your 2mm coil, and this is rough, but it's the easiest way to do it. Leave about 5mm from the coil until the start of the new. That's just so they don't touch when they're in the deck. And then you want to just wrap the first one loose, and the second, third, fourth, fifth, and then gently just tickle him down. Now you've got enough room to bang the other 5 in. So 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10, and you want to come back adjacent or parallel with that other wire. So now you want to squeeze them down, and you're looking like you've got 2 coils, or one split in half in effect. So that's good. Now comes the tricky part, to put this into the deck. So for this I also use this tool, which is obviously gauged along. So I put this on here, and then just get these coils as close as you can to the near end result before you put them in. So you want a gap there, which is where you're going to tuck your cotton in. Now, because I've uncoiled this leg's not 90 degrees, so just readjust that, put them back in. You could do this on the coil jig, but I just find it easier because it's narrow. Bend that round a bit, and you're getting somewhere on what you need. As I said, that was 40 centimeters, and I've got loads to play with there, so you know, 30 would have probably done it. Right, so back to the deck. We don't need him for now. Turn them on. So obviously with the Zephyrus, posts, two in the middle that are your positive are higher up, and the lower ones, your negative ones, are lower. So the way that wants to work is you want to use this one and this one. So middle, right, bottom, left. So if I find it easy to do this by looking at it and going, right, so this one is going in the middle and it's higher up. So whenever you're using nickel, you should always put something round it, because the coils just collapse with the slightest bit of force. Pull him up the way a touch, just to get him roughly where he needs to go. And then the bottom one, as you can see, is going a bit further down, so you can see where I'm going with this. Just, I've found if you just pull them straight, or just nigh off straight, there you go. So I want to trim them now, and I want to put the top one in first. So I'll cut the shorter leg on the bottom, and then the one that's going up the way I'll cut longer, and you'll see why. Get rid of that. Right, so like I said, top one's longer, bottom one's shorter. Top one in, bottom one in. Nearly halfway. Flathead. Now with nickel, obviously, if you've never built with it before, you'll think, God, what's this wire? It's terrible. It's good gear, you just got to be delicate with it. So get him roughly where you want him, and not tighten, you know, just roughly hold it in position. And that's roughly where I want that coil. Now this second one, same again, just tickle that in, and you want to roughly tighten him up. That is that coil in. Now I've not tightened them up too much because I need to crush them down when I come to heat them up. But as you can see, it's reading 0.18, so when I put the same on the other side, the resistance will half. So now, if you watch the wire, tighten, tighten, tighten. I'm not turning it a lot, tighten, and you'll feel, yeah, and it's just nipped that wire, it's ready for a cut. Same with this one, quarter of a turn, quarter of a turn, quarter of a turn, he's nearly there. Now before I cut the wire, I want to reposition these coils. So I'm just going to rejig them into position. 1, 2, and you want them tight. Obviously these two big holes are your airflow, so you want the air to come straight up. I'm not putting the cotton in the middle of the coils on this build. I'm going to do something a bit different. So now I might just want to just check they're still tight, because I fiddled with it, like literally a smidge of a turn, a little bit more. So he's good. He's reading 0.18, which is good up there or thereabouts. Things to look for now are, is this coil touching the deck? If it's not, good. If it's a bit close to here, just tickle them out a touch and pull that one out, just a touch. So now the gap is more. Don't worry about them not being compressed yet, I'll come to that in a minute. Right, so if you just want to do also a quick check, bend your legs up, drop your chimney over the top, screw it in, and the resistance should stay the same. So yeah, now to remove nickel, I don't ever cut nickel, I just bend it. So that if you just bend it, and again with the other leg. So they are roughly in position. Now to do that all over again. So pay attention if you missed or you didn't quite understand what I've done with the coil rig. So from the top, bottom, top, put them through and pull them through. Leave roughly, I don't know, 10 centimeters just to be safe. Fold and pinch. Now bend so he's got a grip. Coil jig on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now that's tight, but we'll still manage with that. Give it a good, not too much because it will buckle up, just push it so it's nice and nipped up. There we go. So straighten that 90-degree bend you put in and gently pull the coil out and put them on upside down. So you want it to be 90 degrees from this leg, so you want to pull that. That's good. If it's not, just you can just tickle it a little bit and it'll bend round. So that is halfway there. Next part, this is a bit trickier. Take it off, turn the coil upside down and place the coil back leg like that. Now you want to leave about 5mm, give or take. That size there is pretty much good. You can always uncoil a little bit. Right, 1, just loosely, so it's got a grip now, so I'm not pulling that coil. 2, 3, 4, 5, and pull it tight. Right, get the other end and push it, but make sure this is flat. Push him down, there you go. Now you've got enough room on the spindle to put another 5 in, so 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and come back so you're parallel with the leg of the other one. With nickel, if you normally go just a bit over, it normally springs back to where you want it. Now push him down, that's looking good. And you can see the difference between winding one by hand and winding one with the jig, but don't worry about that because we'll heat it and squeeze them and you'll never know. So very, very short leg there, never mind, it'll fit. So you want to cut one leg longer and then have a little eyeball at your deck with your spring. Finished with that coil rig now, and you want to go right, so this is going to be the bottom and this is going to be the top. So what I can do to give myself a bit of a head start is put that on here, there you go, and just bend this up the way because that is going into this top one. So because it's higher than this one, I'm just giving it a little bit of a head start on its path to find the hole. Now this is a tricky bit. I want to burn them, I want to check that they're roughly in position 0.06 ohms. Right, so put that on. The Zephyrus are tight build. A lot of people don't like them because of this, but once you've built them a few times, a doddle. 0.3, 0.6, so that is a bit tight, but once they're compressed I'll do that test again. I'm just aware of that fact. So to the box, quick vape. using an X-Cube 2, which are available on Viperoo for £40 or $39.99, I forget. Cracking little box these, well, big box, but they do everything you need and more. So I'm going to set it up as a dual coil build mode, temp mode, normal, nickel. I've put the coefficient to max, Dace dual coil, and there he is. Screw him down. It'll ask for a new coil because they're very cold. Oh, maybe it's not. So we're on 300, so I want to bump that up to 600 Fahrenheit. Oh, back the way. And this is where you've just got to be gentle. Just tickle. You could do this on a mech mod. I wouldn't recommend it, but you just got to be careful when you're firing it because they will melt quick. So first coil. Right, so he's my first coil because he heats up the fastest. And just tickle it and then keep that heat in. Another fire, another fire, another fire, and then compress and hold. Little blow. Help him on his way to cool down. The next one will be the one that glows the fastest. So looking at this big long one here, they're not actually quite bad from the off then. And then I've got 2 left to do, which I could do in any order really. And then this one. Now, I'm looking at this now and I can see that there's a hell of a gap here, so this potentially could touch a chimney. So I'm going to use the heat to help me adjust them into place and just hold it. It'll soon cool when you put a metal rod in it, and it's kind of stayed where I want it. Now do that again. These are good. Now before you put any cotton in, it's a good test. I think it's a good test anyway. Saves you a lot of time to just fire it. It's firing well. Now put your chimney on and check that again. Now it's good, however one coil isn't glowing as quick as the others, so I'm just going to have a quick look at that. Do watch though, because these get hot. Now this, I believe, this one here just needs a little bit of a nip and a shimmy back towards the middle. I'm not happy about that there. So what I need to do is just put this in to hold the shape and get something like a flat-headed screwdriver and just push that down. There you go. So now they're there or thereabouts. I'm happy with that. They're gluing. Quick test with the chimney on. If it works with a chimney on, you get your cotton and you don't alter them much. 99 times out of 100 it will work. Just hurry these threads up. There we go. Now check again. It's firing, all 4 done the same. Brilliant. Right, so just gently take your chimney off. Now this is a tricky part for most. Just make sure they're straight, and they're straight. Brilliant. Right, cotton. So I'm just going to take this off the mod now. 1, so I can have a vape, and 2, so it's a bit lower down and you can see what's going on. So there we have it, 4 coils in a Zephyrus, just missing cotton. bear with me. Right, to put the cotton in, I would suggest not doing what I've just done there, but to just prop your mod up with anything you've got, your tank up, sorry, and get your cotton. And I'll use this to point, what you want to be looking for is the cotton to be at the edge here, this sort of recess, and you want it to go no higher than the top of the spring. So I'm looking at about there from my angle, roughly. You can always trim it down, but roughly. So now while I've got that set there, I'm just going to roughly, that's me. So I've been out left of these springs by the time I'm done. Put him down, and there he is, trim along there. So there's one side. Now we'll get rid of these tools, and what you want to do is very, very gently just peel the top layer of the cotton off. He's gone, and the other side, so they can go in the bin. Now this cotton has got to slip down there, so that is a bit thick for my liking, so I'm just going to, it's just a case of test and adjust. It all depends on how close your coils are. I'm just going to take a little bit more off and flatten it down a wee bit. Get rid of the fluff off it. There we go, so he can go away. And then another little test. And you just, if you pull them tight, not too tight to pull it apart, and just shimmy him in there. Well, you can see he's slightly too high than the coils, so better to go more than less, because you can always trim. Get something longer if you can, like a pair of scissors, and just trim off what you thought was too much. You might do it right first time, but I always kind of put a bit more in and then just get the size as good as I can. So now back to here. That's kind of what I'm looking for now. So now you have the task of separating it. These are ideal for this. You could use a needle or anything else that's sharp and thin. You want to hold one end of the cotton down and just tickle it from the middle. Going halfway, aim for halfway. So if you get it in the middle, half. There you go. And you just get rid of this excess cotton. Like when you put a dual coil builder in the Zeph, and if you've not done it, if you have done it, you know what I'm on about. If you've not done it before, you use very, very little cotton, which put a lot of people off at the beginning, but I think once they got used to it and were shown how to do it, they realised, and it is better. It's just the juice flow is phenomenal. Well, this is doubling it. So do the same on the other side, and you just want to hold that so you don't pull it through, and kind of go like that as best you can. Get rid of him. So now you have a little bit of an X going on, and what you need to do, well, what I do first is I just give them a little pull, and then this is going to wrap round, and this side here is going to wrap round. You need to trim it, cut it, and then see this leg I carried over, I'm going to use that to just pull it through and cut it off. Same with the other side. So if I just look at it and marry it up so it's pretty tight, I'm going to be cutting it about where my shears are now. So if I go for there, so made a mark, cut him. Now get your tweezers again, and this is a case of just being delicate and tickling the cotton up that hole. You don't want to shove it. Find if it's not staying, just keep your finger on till you can graspy way in. That worked a bit better, so shove it in and then poke it up, and that'll just keep it in position while you put your chimney on, you see. You want to get it as best you can in between them coils. So there's one side done. Next side, same again, you want to be cutting it roughly there, edge of the other coil. So you can make a little nip, or you can just use your eye, cut that there. Right, same again. So I found it easier then to just literally lightly poke it in. And then, so you're kind of pushing the cotton against the spring, but under. You see that little bit went up there? You need this to catch a little bit, so if you, as you go in, just wiggle it. And the bottom, as you can see, the bottom's not quite as tight as it could be, so you can give it a little shove. You want to be careful though, because the airflow holes on the bottom. So that's good for me. That's one side pretty much there. Now these two bits I've been using to go into the juice channels. So if you just get them roughly in position, and the recess again, chop it there. That's a rough guide for you for now. Same on the other side while you're on, and just chop it there for now. Then get your tweezers and just give it an eyeball. I mean, I always go a couple of threads. It's 2-3 threads top. I never go below the threads on the cotton on a Zeph. You want to squeeze that. It's a bit thin up ground, that one. Give it a little tickle just to make, there we go. You want that to be sitting. So if I just pull this one a little bit and then pull that one. So now we need to do exactly the same as we do on the other side and cut this roughly in line with this coil. And you can do the other one while you're on now, so you know where I'm going. Got that one. And then you want to get that tucked around the coil and then up through there. So, easier said than done. I find it easy to just gently poke it in. And then tickle that bit under there. There we go. So that's one side in. Next side, oh, the bottom could do with a little tightening up. Next side, come round and shove that in. You can just use your finger to roughly get it in position and then poke it through that gap. You want to make sure you're covering the coils as well. I moved my coils a little bit there, but never mind. So that's that in. Now prod down the coil to make sure the airflow is clean. Yep, still a gap. And test the resistance. 0.06. Brilliant. So it's not changed. Now you just need to cut the ends off. So if you go to the recess, this is very thin, this part, so I'm just going to try and thicken them up a touch. Cut them at the recess. Give it the old eyeball and think, is it good enough? Yep, that'll fit in there nicely. That'll fit in there nicely, and he's still reading a bit more than he was. Wonder why that is. That's still in the threshold though. Wonder if he's touching the deck. He's alright there, he's alright there. Oh. Right, I'm happy with that. Try some of this Cobra Cloud Supersonic. Really good stuff. 8020 VG. So this will test it. This is available on Viperoo as well. $9.99 for a 30ml bottle. You want to just drip your juice on and just let it soak in its own time. A bit much won't do it any harm. You're rather off putting too much juice on and blowing it out the airflow when you've done than not enough fire in it and getting dry hits. He is officially drenched. We've got 2 jobs left to do until we can bang it on the box. It's a long build, but it's worth it. It is worth it. He's primed up. So now I need to get these into my juice channels. Roughly. I'm just pushing that and pushing that, and that'll sit there nicely. Where's my other one? There he is. That'll sit there nicely. And the same with him. You don't want to bung that bottom bit up, basically. That's important. That bottom bit, do not bung it up. Loads of juice on them. Where's this last one? There he is. So, and that's him good. Chimney on. Just gently put this chimney on because there's a lot of cotton. And you just want to tickle it left and right until you get threads. Screw it all the way down, not too tight, just slightly. See, that's it. Yep. Now you want to get a little bit of tissue and just go around it, just get the excess off. Now before we fill the tank up and assemble it or put it on, we may as well put it on the mod and check it's working. So that's it, check atomizer, screw him on, new coil, yes. And voila, he fires. So the last part, the easy part, is to put him down for now. See this juice coming out, the air channels, that's because we over primed it, but you can blow that out in a minute. So, top cap in the glass, then you want bottom O-ring, funny enough, on the bottom. Marry them together. I always find just putting that in there helps you turn it. You can really get a nice nip on it as well. Now I'll fill it with juice before I blow the air out. So supersonic, brilliant, smells absolutely divine. It has to be one of the best juices I've tried in a long time. Right, so he's not full, but just for the purpose of this, I'll put the bung back in and screw the top head of the tank on. Give it a little wipe, get a drip tip, and before you put the last part, which is the airflow ring, on, cover the airflow like this and blow down it. Same with any tank, if it's gargling, it's flooding. Right, that's the juice out of that. Fire him on. I will like max airflow. Screw him onto the box. That'll fire on pretty much anything. We sell these as a kit with the Joytech VTC minis, and they are cracking. So let's give it a vape. As you can hear, it's firing like a good one. And you have strawberry yogurt, which is supersonic. Thank you very much for your time, and if you've got any questions about anything to do with e-cigs or juice or anything that I might be able to help you with, just drop us a line on the website, on Facebook, on Twitter, or by email. Thank you very much, and leave it in the comments as well. I'll get back to you as soon as I can.